Hey everybody, and welcome to Slides Month. So in these first two little videos, we're going to be working on some basic slides, and then when we get to the fancier videos at the kind of higher tiers, we're going to do some fancy slide combinations that you can add into Lindy, Bow, other places. So we're going to get started today with a little V slide and working on some of that technique and timing. If you are experienced at slides or if you're new to slides, it's always good to practice at whatever level you are. So just to get started, we're going to work on a little bit of a V slide. So the first thing that I need you to do is I'll show both angles, but I need you to bring those feet together and split weight on the balls of the feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of lower into this. Now as we do that, we're going to keep that split weight and our toes are going to fan out. You can see my toes starting to fan out a little bit as I start to kind of push through the floor to make that slide happen. Again, you can see from this angle, we have split weight a little bit down and pushing out. This is a little exercise stole from Sylvia Sykes. That idea, if you have like what she calls the magic plunger, but if you're pushing down as you're doing the slide or pulling that up, which if you're pulling up, be careful of the inside leg muscles because those could easily get hurt. But you want to push down, slide out. Now, when you slide out, really make sure that you don't slide so far that it's difficult to dance out of. Basically about shoulder width, thereabouts is usually pretty good. A little bit further would be okay. Now, when you get to that slide, you want to be able to shift your weight to one side or the other to dance out. If it takes a lot of effort to shift over, that's just a little bit too far. So again, we want to create that little bit of down, moving out. The big thing with this slide is that we don't want to, I'm going to move back so you can see my head, I don't want to pop the head up because that's going to look like a jumping jack, and that's kind of amateur slide hour right there. So if we have that little pop up, it's just too much. We want to try to keep that head steady. When you're practicing this slide, I would really recommend practicing nice and slow to get that control. You can, of course, slide fast. But you want to be able to have that nice control. I was forced to, in my early days, practice these very slow. With that, you can also, again, practice fast. So I recommend having a free foot, stepping down and together, down and slide. Again, other foot, down and slide, to also be able to dance into this a bit more. Some other things with dancing out. So I'm going to show it from this angle. When we're dancing out, a lot of times, leaders, you're going to be having your left foot free for a little step. Sometimes it's going to be a ball change. Followers, it's usually going to be right, left. So we have a little slide, step. Timings you can practice. A lot of the slide, step is going to replace, say, in Lindy Hop, like the 1-2. So like a slide ball change, the 1 and 2 of a pattern. So leaders, we're going to be going 1 and 2. Followers, you have 1, 2. Again, that's 1, 2 for followers, dancing out of that. You can also, if you could see, is that I can have that move a little bit forward. If for some reason you need to move forward or if you're being led forward, you can kind of forward into it. Now, making sure that you're not driving your hips forward, that you're driving your feet a little bit forward to make that happen, because hips forward is usually never a good idea when it comes to that, both visual and technique. So again, slide, step out of that. Problem solving. If for some reason you're sliding and then you feel like one foot go instead of the other, usually it's because your weight is now more over one foot than the other side. So making sure that, again, our weight stays in the middle here so that we can keep that split weight. Some other little tips with this is that if you're on a terrible floor, you can actually cheat this slide a little bit. So you can see if one foot's sliding out and I have those toes fan as I'm doing that, I can make it look like a slide without actually doing it. I can do that either direction. So it's a way to fake slides. Either your lead doesn't lead it well enough, or it's a terrible floor, you can actually make it look like something like a slide without actually having to use the floor. Because if you're sliding on a bad floor, again, you're probably just going to hurt yourself. So make sure you do have a nice, decent floor with that. So again, practicing nice and slow, keeping split weight, but also keeping the weight on the balls of your feet. If your weight falls back, that again will kind of put on the brakes to that. So again, we have that slide. My chest is over the balls of my feet as I do that. Again, I can slide forward, same thing. I don't want the weight to go to the heels. So again, V slide we have nice and slow, or we can do it fast. Now again, fast, really make sure you don't get that jumping jack head out. It's still a little bit pushing down. And again, we can slide out of this. If you think about that magic plunger, again, you're pulling that up, making sure that you're bringing that slide kind of up into your center versus using all the leg strength and try to pull them in. If you kind of pull up into your center, it's gonna be a little bit easier to slide back together. But the out is more important than the way back in on practicing these things. So again, V slide, we can move forward out of that, and you can see if I need to have one foot forward, I can catch up with the other foot and then drive that forward, and I can do that with either foot. One foot's driving, so you can also practice a V slide going that direction. So those are your V slides. Practice all the different variations to those, and you will be ready to plug those into dancing. When it comes to Lindy Hop, a lot of the open position stuff, doing it on 1 and 2, replacing your rock step or your swivel is a good place to do those. In Bal, a lot of times it's when we're doing like say maxi stop step that we can do those. There are some other places we can make those happen. Occasionally we can do some of those in like small little places like Out and In, or I say lollies, you can sometimes get those in, but it's usually a little bit easier when we're actually going through a promenade type position to make those slides happen. But practice those, have a good time with them, and we will see you in the other videos.